Special operations teams immediately locked down the entire Riverpoint Industrial Park as reconnaissance confirmed. A convoy of vehicles carrying chemical precursors was gathering at a row of warehouses right next to the old railway line. The cordon was set up in 3 rings, splitting into multiple infiltration teams approaching from the riverbank, the expressway, and the residential area to the west. A mobile surveillance system was deployed to cut off any escape routes for the lookout groups operating around the area. Federal forces breached the door at Warehouse Hash 4, which had seen an unusual amount of vehicle traffic for weeks. As the strike team approached, the network's armed group opened fire from inside, forcing the Special Ops unit to deploy ballistic shields and move against the rows of containers, yard by yard. The gun battle was intense but tightly controlled, thanks to the tactical advantage held by the federal teams. Some suspects were subdued on the spot, others fled through a back exit leading to a scrap yard. Technical officers cut the locks and fully opened the main warehouse. Inside were large barrels of chemicals, falsely labeled, alongside a continuous pill-pressing operation. Documents recovered laid the groundwork for a critical discovery. The network in Chicago was not just a collection point but the vital transshipment hub for the entire operation run by Valerio Víbora Mendez. Numerous communication devices, servers, and cargo routing diagrams were removed for analysis. As forces advanced further into the southern part of the industrial park, an armed pickup truck convoy unexpectedly sped out of Warehouse Hash 7, attempting to break the cordon. Special operations were forced to seal off the exit with mobile barriers and armored vehicles. The heavy collision resulted in injuries for several network members, who were immediately subdued at the scene. A few federal agents also sustained minor injuries during the approach and were moved out for medical attention. Right after being blocked, the remaining group triggered an improvised device to destroy the warehouse, creating a massive column of smoke and severely impairing visibility. Assigned units quickly secured the surrounding area to prevent damage from spreading. This act only further proved the network's objective was to destroy all data before federal forces could gain full control of the complex. Special operations immediately expanded the operational scope, splitting teams to pursue those who fled in the 2 remaining directions. One group of suspects was detained at the abandoned railway track, where they were trying to move a barrel of goods they hadn't managed to destroy. The shipment was sealed immediately afterward, further confirming Riverpoint's role in the entire supply chain. The other team pursued suspects through the old container storage area, where they attempted, unsuccessfully, to hide among the chaotic stacks of boxes. As the control teams linked up, the on-site analysis team reported a crucial find: an encrypted hard drive containing a linked map of 22 underground locations spread across Chicago. Transport routes, weapons caches, cash transfer stations, and houses used for money laundering were all visible on the schematic. This discovery forced the command team to upgrade the entire operation, shifting from evidence gathering to simultaneous, multi-target raids. The Riverpoint Industrial Park was placed under full control. Suspects who broke through the perimeter were either arrested or injured. Recovered evidence was sealed and transferred to the investigation center. Initial reports confirmed this was only the surface of a far more complex structure, putting Chicago at the center of the fight. And as federal forces pulled out of Riverpoint, they were already preparing to step into the next phase, a pursuit targeting the entire system Víbora built in the shadows. Data collected from Riverpoint was immediately sent to the Forward Analysis Center. Specialists did a preliminary sweep and confirmed the 22 underground locations used by Valerio Víbora Mendez were scattered throughout Chicago in a decentralized structure, with each point serving a specific function. Their tight interconnection meant the operation had to switch to a simultaneous strike model to prevent the targets from destroying evidence or pulling their personnel out of the city. Command divided the entire force into 4 large units, deployed like a fan, hitting 3 key targets first: a riverside money laundering location, a high-rise apartment used as a pill-pressing facility in the South Loop, and a cluster of underground parking garages in Pilsen suspected to be the network's logistical coordination center. Other locations would be swept in subsequent waves after the first 3 points were neutralized. The Riverside team started by locking down road and water access. Reconnaissance identified a 3-story building as a cash stash and transfer point for shell companies. As forces moved in, the network's guards immediately moved inside to trigger evidence destruction protocol. Special ops were forced to breach the door to stop them. A brief firefight occurred in the ground floor offices. 2 suspects were subdued. Some cash was seized before it could be burned, along with numerous financial documents pointing to money flows toward other safe houses in the city. In the South Loop, the strike team faced a more complex situation. The apartment on the 18th floor was fitted with a steel door and electronic lock system. When the technical team cut the power, the armed group inside immediately moved toward the fire escape. Special ops had to form 2 blockades. One team continued breaching the door, and the other secured the stairwell to cut off the retreat. On the 17th floor, one suspect attempted to climb over the railing to jump to the next balcony and was injured in the fall. The rest were cornered in the far end of the apartment and quickly arrested. Inside, a large quantity of pills already pressed into capsules and numerous machines were sealed, confirming the location's role in the industrial distribution chain. The underground parking cluster in Pilsen was believed to be a communication hub for the transport teams. When the strike team descended to the 3rd basement level, suspects were trying to wipe data from a modified truck used as a coordination center. The quick reaction of the Special Ops unit prevented them from finishing. Some suspects attempted to run up to the 2nd basement but were blocked by the escape route cutoff team. During the arrests, an agent sustained a minor injury after being pushed, but the situation quickly stabilized. Communication devices, cargo movement maps, and driver manifests were recovered intact. After the 3 key targets, the operation expanded to the remaining locations. To the north, a 2-story house converted into a weapons stash was surrounded and secured after a short exchange of fire. Seized weapons, including rifles, handguns, and boxes of ammunition, were moved out, ensuring no further support capability for Víbora's groups. To the west, an abandoned warehouse containing precursor chemicals was searched and sealed before suspects could set it ablaze. By the time the forces consolidated at the center, a total of 8 underground locations had been neutralized. Numerous fugitives from the network were brought in for questioning. A quick report indicated a significant part of the network was still operational, meaning Víbora was likely adjusting his plan to escape Chicago. From the data collected, the analysis center tracked a GPS signal that matched images recorded at one of the recently raided apartments. All traces led to the little village area suspected to be the temporary hiding spot of the kingpin. Forces immediately redeployed, preparing to move into the direct pursuit phase, with one sole objective: to cut off Valerio Mendez's escape route before he could blend into the city's vast underground network. Analysis teams cross-referenced signals recovered from the 8 underground locations and confirmed an unusual match leading to a 3-story house in the Little Village neighborhood. Special Operations immediately deployed an approach team in a tiered formation, locking down 3 roads surrounding the house to prevent any vehicle escape. A reconnaissance unit secretly moved into the nearby residential area to spot any lookout personnel monitoring the federal forces' movements. As the approach team reached controlling distance, a mini camera on the 2nd floor of the house was detected pivoting toward them. This suggested the target had early intelligence on the operation. Command ordered the entire team to advance quickly before Víbora could trigger any retreat protocols. Special Ops breached the main door and entered the ground floor. Inside were signs of a temporary coordination center. Computers, shipping maps, and papers indicating an encrypted mailbox had been deleted just minutes before. On the 2nd floor, signs suggested one of the rooms had been used to hold a quick meeting. Some plastic chairs were overturned, a radio lay on the floor, and communication equipment remnants were still warm, proving the occupants had just left. Team 1 continued to the 3rd floor, but a noise in the back stairwell indicated someone was trying to break through the control lock. Team 2 immediately blocked the secondary staircase and forced the subjects to turn back. 2 suspects were subdued, but there was no sign of Valerio Mendez. As control of the house was mostly complete, a reconnaissance officer spotted an unusual gap in the wooden floor of the 2nd floor bedroom. Technical forces broke through the floor and found a trapdoor leading down to an old sewer system tunnel for the area. A quick assessment indicated this was a prepared escape route Víbora used frequently. Team 3 immediately descended into the tunnel, splitting into 2 teams heading east and north. In the sewer system, muddy footprints, scraps of cloth, and leftover reflective paint markers suggested the kingpin had not long departed. The eastward pursuit team found signs someone had just moved along a long corridor leading to an old dumping area. As forces accelerated, the light from a subject's mask was momentarily visible in the darkness, immediately creating a close-quarters confrontation. Special Ops quickly subdued him, but when questioned about Víbora's direction, the suspect remained silent. Meanwhile, the northern team reported finding a junction between the sewer line and an abandoned containment vault. The iron door had been thrown open, suggesting someone had rushed through at high speed. The lead team radioed for ground forces to lock down the street above. Several suspect vehicles speeding out of Little Village were stopped at a major intersection using mobile barriers. 2 subjects were arrested, one with minor injuries from the collision, but still capable of providing information. El Víbora was moving with a small group through the sewer line leading to the old factory area to the west. The pursuit team in the sewers accelerated, but the tunnel narrowed, making movement difficult. However, the signs left behind battery casings, wrist wraps, and skid marks on the tunnel wall showed the target left in a great hurry. As the forces approached the junction with an open manhole leading to an abandoned parking lot, signals from ground recon came in. A black pickup truck had bypassed the control point just before the barrier was fully erected. The description matched the vehicle El Víbora often used as an escort. Special operations immediately deployed a motorized pursuit team, launching a chase on the narrow roads surrounding the residential area. The suspect vehicle swerved into the warehouse district at high speed, creating a dangerous close-quarters situation. One of the federal vehicles collided and sustained minor damage. 2 agents were injured but maintained control. At the warehouse lot, the pickup truck sped through a side exit and disappeared into the abandoned factory area. The chase concluded with a clear confirmation. Valerio, El Víbora Mendez had escaped the cordon by a matter of moments. His complex escape structure showed he had planned for this for a long time and was ready to transition to a full-scale flight phase. The operation was forced to expand its scope because if they couldn't cut off his route to the west of the city, all the hard work from the first 2 phases would be immediately undone. Command immediately reconstructed the entire sequence of the Little Village pursuit to determine why the western blockade was opened just as El Víbora passed through. The report from the containment team showed an unusual detail. The auxiliary barrier should have been erected before the suspect vehicle appeared, but the team responsible for that location was absent for several minutes. Internal communication signals in that area were intentionally cut, suggesting internal interference. To verify, the Data Cross-Check Department reviewed the transmission logs and found an automated command to disable the communication channel had been sent from a device with ADU personnel access. This signal originated exactly as the strike team was surrounding the house in Little Village. A few minutes later, the western barrier line was unmanned, allowing El Víbora to escape the tightening circle. An internal investigation team was dispatched immediately, even as the pursuit forces had not yet left the scene. They immediately interrogated the barrier team. A Chicago PD officer exhibited unusual nervousness when asked about leaving their post. A check of their phone showed data wiping software had just been activated. When ordered to stop, the suspect attempted to run from the inspection area but was immediately subdued. His phone still held a temporary copy of the cordon route list that only federal forces should have access to. The extended investigation didn't stop there. It exposed a second ADU employee behind the command that disabled the communication system. When the investigation team moved to this person's workstation, the subject attempted to destroy a hard drive installed in a shock-proof briefcase, forcing agents to seize it before the data was completely erased. Although most of the content was deeply encrypted, the recovery system still managed to trace several files on a backup server. Among them were El Víbora's real-time movement routes, along with the ID numbers of several safe houses the strike teams had not yet swept. The discovery of 2 moles caused a major shock to the pursuit forces. The fact that El Víbora's network had infiltrated federal agencies and local police put the entire operation at risk of internal collapse. The operation commander immediately issued a temporary order. The entire formation had to change communication codes, and teams were to be divided into smaller units to ensure information did not fall into the hands of other, yet unidentified subjects. To prevent further sabotage by remaining moles, the operation immediately restructured the citywide control ring. Key positions were replaced by forces from neighboring states who were brought in as reinforcements, unconnected to the old data. This slowed the deployment pace for a few minutes but ensured the safety of subsequent pursuit teams. While the internal investigation team continued to expand the suspect list, technical reconnaissance detected an encrypted radio signal emanating from the container yard by the river, a place where a small-scale ambush had previously occurred. The appearance of this signal following the internal leak led command to suspect this might be a rendezvous point El Víbora used to receive information from the traders before leaving Little Village. Special operations teams were ordered to surround the container yard immediately. As they approached, the network's armed group opened fire to create a gap for an armored truck to leave the scene. A collision occurred on the narrow road behind the lot. 1 federal vehicle was damaged, and 2 agents sustained minor injuries while trying to block the suspect vehicle's exit. However, the quick arrival of the support team prevented the armed group from holding their position. Multiple subjects were arrested, but the armored truck managed to separate from the group and disappeared onto the western route. Inside the vehicles of the arrested suspects, forces recovered a code table related to Víbora's emergency escape routes. This document matched some information found on the hard drive of the arrested ADU employee. Preliminary analysis suggested Víbora was moving toward the abandoned Silver Crown Steelworks Industrial Park, a location with a complex underground structure he could use to buy time or organize a counterattack. The internal presence of moles not only slowed the pursuit but also made the entire force acutely aware of the real danger. Víbora was escaping not just by road but by information. To capture him, the special ops teams were forced to act faster, separate all channels of leaks, and regain the upper hand before the target vanished into the Chicago outskirts. From data recovered at the Riverside container yard, command confirmed Víbora had intentionally split his escort into 4 groups, spread in 4 directions to confuse the tracking system. Each group carried communication equipment, generating identical signals, forcing technical units to filter all the data. Allowing the target to break out of the reserve perimeter would immediately put the entire operation at a disadvantage. 3 motorized teams immediately divided their efforts into a multi-layered blockade model. The first team followed a high-speed signal on the Dan Ryan Expressway, suspected to be the main escort. The second team moved to the Green Line elevated train route after reconnaissance detected a device disguised as a transit card attached to a train car. The third team headed toward the Pilsen area, where cartel vehicles had previously been sighted. All shared one goal: to force Víbora to reveal his true direction of movement. On the Dan Ryan Expressway, the network's escort vehicles sped up in an unstable fashion. A pickup truck deliberately created a gap by weaving into the emergency lane. The pursuit convoy was forced to deploy a mobile barrier to force the suspect vehicle into the median strip. The heavy collision caused the pickup to flip. 3 subjects were injured and pulled from the scene. However, a quick check found no sign of Víbora in this group. Nevertheless, the communication device recovered from the cab contained a signal segment matching the route heading towards Silver Crown Steelworks. Meanwhile, the team controlling the Green Line route faced an unexpected situation. A group of 3 subjects opened a train door, attempting to throw a black bag onto the tracks when they saw the forces approaching. Special ops had to stop them immediately. The bag contained a device creating false signals, used to simulate the routes of multiple vehicles at once. This action showed the cartel was trying to stretch the pursuit teams for as long as possible. 1 subject was injured while resisting arrest, but forces secured all the evidence. In the Pilsen area, the third team faced a greater risk when 4 network vehicles suddenly split up and sped into the narrow residential area. The pursuit forces immediately had to divide into smaller groups, forcing each suspect vehicle into different dead-end alleys. 1 car was cornered at an old warehouse, and multiple subjects were arrested. A second car attempted to rush into a night market, forcing the unit to quickly subdue the driver to avoid civilian casualties. An officer sustained a minor injury while cutting off the third vehicle. All were brought under control without major loss, but Víbora was still nowhere to be seen. Out of the 3 pursuit directions, only one still had the potential to hold the real target, the western route leading towards Silver Crown Steelworks. Signals from the seized device on the highway and in Pilsen both converged on the same point. Command assessed that Víbora was trying to use a looping western route to escape Chicago through the abandoned factory systems linked to the city's outer sewer network. The teams consolidated into one large pursuit column, re-establishing a distant cordon to avoid being tricked again. Mobile surveillance systems were deployed along the road leading to the steel plant. Aerial reconnaissance reported a suspicious image. A black pickup truck decelerated abruptly near the Silver Crown Steelworks service gate before driving inside. The description perfectly matched the vehicle previously seen at the container yard. Recognizing this could be the critical point, Command ordered the entire team to move closer but maintain a safe distance to avoid falling into an ambush. As forces neared the steel plant, a small explosion from the old workshop area indicated the cartel was breaching a door to prepare to seal off an escape route. Teams were forced to accelerate, blocking down all entry and exit points. The first cordon line blocked the road from the north of the factory. The second line firmly locked the street leading out to the residential area to the west. The third line completely controlled the river-adjacent approach to prevent vehicles from escaping by water. Several external lookouts were arrested as they tried to collect communication equipment. 2 subjects were injured while attempting to break through the cordon, but forces quickly secured the area and continued to tighten the control ring. El Víbora's four-way pursuit closed with a clear conclusion. He had concentrated all remaining forces into Silver Crown Steelworks to prepare for his final run. The operation entered its most intense phase, where the entire force had to enter a dark, abandoned industrial area full of complex underground structures, a place perfectly designed to prolong the confrontation. Silver Crown Steelworks loomed as a rusted steel complex spanning tens of acres, with interconnected factory floors joined by old overpasses and deep underground tunnels. The area's complex structure made it an ideal stronghold for Valerio El Víbora Mendez. Command ordered the entire team to maintain a fast approach rhythm but to absolutely control every direction to avoid being cut off. The cordon was divided into 3 layers. The outermost line firmly locked the western road, seen as the final escape route leading to the city outskirts. The second line blocked all approaches from the northern residential area. The innermost line pressed directly against the factory, using mobile shields and specialized assault formations. As forces entered the wide courtyard in front of the main workshop, the network's armed group appeared from multiple elevated positions, forcing special ops to form a protective circle with armored vehicles. Multiple subjects were arrested in the first counterattack, the rest retreated deeper inside. Team A was ordered to breach the steel door leading to the first basement. The narrow passage made movement difficult, but with the support of the technical team, they quickly cut through the previously reinforced lock. Inside was a network of auxiliary rooms used as temporary shelter. A quick check showed the area had just been used. Water bottles were open, communication devices were partially set up, and a city map taped to the wall still had fresh marker notations. This confirmed El Víbora had been here very recently. Meanwhile, Team B advanced toward the surveillance tower near the old steel casting area. They noticed a high-voltage area had been modified to create a temporary camera and lighting system. When the technical team cut the power, the entire upper floor went dark, forcing the entrenched subjects to retreat deeper into the wreckage behind. One subject was injured while running and was moved out for medical care. At the service gate, Team C intercepted an escort group trying to force a path to move El Víbora toward the riverbank. A brief firefight ensued as this group used a steel-reinforced pickup truck to break the cordon. Special ops were forced to headlock the vehicle, causing a minor collision that brought it to a complete stop. 3 subjects were arrested, 2 with minor injuries, and were immediately secured. However, there was no trace of El Víbora in this group, proving he was looking for an alternate route. From the data recovered on the devices in the escort vehicle, the analysis team confirmed an old tunnel led directly to the drainage system near the Chicago River. This was highly likely the final escape route El Víbora had prepared for a full-scale siege. Command immediately deployed a small unit into the tunnel entrance to block it preemptively, while ordering teams on the riverbank to deploy speedboats and establish a containment line on the water. In the main workshop, Team A continued to breach their way down to the second basement. At here, they found a ruined corridor with wet shoe prints, confirming the target had moved toward the sewer line. Team B from the surveillance tower immediately changed direction, merging with Team A to accelerate. A notification from the water reconnaissance team came in. A manhole cover had just been opened near the river's edge. The Silver Crown Steelworks raid ended with a clear assessment. El Víbora had been forced to leave his stronghold and was moving toward the river, where the final containment line had been set up. The direct confrontation between him and the pursuit forces was now only separated by a narrow stretch of dark water ahead. At the river area, the cordon was tightened into a triangle shape, locking down the entire stretch of water running along the southern embankment. One federal pursuit speedboat held position upstream. A second blocked the downstream end, and special operations teams pressed in from the drainage outlet area. The sole objective was to prevent Valerio, El Víbora Mendez from escaping into the river junction, where surveillance systems became more complex and any gap could give him the chance to disappear from Chicago. The manhole cover burst open from inside, water spraying out as a small speedboat shot out, running close to the surface to use the dark shadows under the bridge girders. Surveillance units on the bank immediately reported the position, noting the driver's build matched El Víbora's description. The downstream pursuit boat was ordered to force the target toward the embankment. The suspect boat accelerated, weaving close to the bridge supports to evade the cordon, forcing the speedboats to open their engines to high throttle to regain the advantage. Recognizing the path ahead was blocked, El Víbora turned west, where the gap between the 2 blocking boats was smaller. He tried to use the water currents to create an unexpected trajectory. This dangerous move made it difficult for the pursuit team because a deviation of just a few yards could allow his boat to slip through a blind spot and escape control. The downstream boat adjusted its side, creating a close quarters angle to force the suspect boat to raise its bow, abruptly reducing speed. This maneuver caused the suspect boat to list sharply, exposing a large enough opening for the special ops team on the bank to rush in and block the landing point. Víbora realized the water escape route was narrowing. Surveillance units on the bank immediately reported the position, noting the driver's build matched Víbora's description. The downstream pursuit boat was ordered to force the target toward the embankment. The suspect boat accelerated, weaving close to the bridge supports to evade the cordon, forcing the speedboats to open their engines to high throttle to regain the advantage. He was forced to change tactics, steering the boat into the narrow gap between two bridge pillars where the teams on the boats found it difficult to adjust their approach angle. But the special ops team on the bank had already deployed mobile barriers and secured positions along the embankment. When the boat drew near, a unit jumped down to the nearest mooring point to force the subject into the shallow area. The suspect boat was forced to slow down, and the strong water current below caused the vessel to lose balance. The collision occurred when the pursuit boat from the downstream touched the stern of the suspect boat to force it to a complete stop. The impact force was not large, but it was enough to make Víbora lose control. The boat tilted to one side and then flipped, capsizing into the cold water. He was not seriously injured, only having a few scrapes from colliding with the boat hull. After being handcuffed, he was immediately escorted to a secured area where a specialized transport unit was waiting. When the pursuit team reported the mission complete, command confirmed the operation in Chicago had achieved its key objective: the arrest of Kingpin Valerio, Víbora Mendez, and the dismantling of his direct support system in the city. However, the data collected during the pursuit showed many financial links and transport groups were still operating silently. The operation does not end at Silver Crown Steelworks or the Chicago Riverbank. The capture of Víbora is only the first piece in the process of dismantling the entire underground structure he built. That system still continues to operate in the shadows, and the next mission is to find the remaining individuals who are holding the critical links of the network.